Tonight, I have the Dalwhinnie 15 years old. I like to call it Dalwhinnie the Pooh. Dalwhinnie the Pooh because it smells like honey, it tastes like honey, and if you drink too much of it, you'll find yourself getting stuck on the way out of Rabbit's house, and then you're gonna wait, and then, the rabbit gets angry, and Christopher Robin can't help it. Okay, maybe not that last one. That's right, indulge my childish fantasies, and I will be tasting tonight the Dalwhinnie 15 years old. The Dalwhinnie distillery has a high distinction, literally and figuratively, in that I believe it is the highest distillery in Scotland. It is up the road from Perth, not Perth, Australia, Perth, Scotland, obviously, near Inverness, and it's in a high pass, and between two trade lanes, I believe, and gets very nippy up there, very cold, nippy. Describing Scotland as nippy, I think, is like calling the Pacific Ocean a little damp. It is bloody cold, and this particular place where the Dalwhinnie distillery resides is particularly cold, even by Scottish standards, so the winters there are quite brisk. And I believe, well, like as with anything, cold things tend to contract, and so very, very cold, the casks would contract, sucking all the air in, and so the angel share, that's a little whiskey term which I'll have to explain later in a video perhaps, is quite favourable compared to, say, the warmer regions of Scotland, say like the seaside distilleries. Or in the States, where the differences in temperature are much greater. Dalwhinnie, it's up there. Get it? It's up there. Let's have a look at the bottle and see what we're dealing with. It is a Highland single malt. The Dalwhinnie is actually part of the classic Malts of Scotland. Basically a bunch of whiskies that are owned by the Diageo company, and each one sort of belongs to a specific whiskey region, and this is the Highland offering. The Oban is also a Highland whiskey, but it's considered a West Highland. Let's see. Matured for 15 years, so I believe on this channel it's the oldest one I've tasted so far. Has been artificially coloured, has been chill filtered. And another first for the channel, 43% ABV, so not the standard for the masses general 40% ABV, got an extra 3%. Now you might think, well, an extra 3%, what's that? But it'll give it a somewhat more intense, it'll be a bit fuller. From the highest distillery in Scotland, see, I know what I'm talking about. Set in the windswept Grampian Mountains with their unlimited supply of fresh spring water, comes this delightfully gentle, delicately smoky malt. Smokiness. I haven't had too many of the smoky whiskies. From memory, it's not that smoky. It's just in the background. Let us unleash the Kraken. No, it's not a Kraken more. It's a Dalwhinnie. Very sweet sherry smell in the cork. In the cork. So in the bottle, it's a honey colour, to continue my my strange Winnie the Pooh obsession. But once you pour yourself a dram, it's a bit more straw coloured in smaller quantities. Now, being 43%, and look, you still notice this with 40% whiskies as well, but the higher the ABV, the more you will see what we call the church windows, or the legs, which is little lines of descent that the scotch, or the whiskey, makes as it comes down. So at 40, this is slightly a bit more pronounced, a little bit more slightly. I like to equivocate where possible. Man, I'm really losing it. I'm going bonkers, totally bonkers. Time for a nose. Honey, heather, and vanilla. There's some fruitiness. I'd say light fruits. And apples. Red apples. And very, very light peatiness in the background. It's so mild that I don't know if it's peat that's actually been, you know, peated malt, or if it's just from the oak and the casks that kind of gives you the impression of smoke. I think it's probably the latter, but I'm not 100% sure. Very nice. Here's to you. Just a touch of honey and spice. Bit more oakiness in the taste. Light fruits. Vanilla. The vanilla gorilla. Very nice. Some heather. That whiff of peat smoke. Probably a little bit more in the taste than is in the nose. And a lovely malty, toasty malt aftertaste. Oh, very nice. Very nice indeed. A nice long finish. Hardly surprising, been matured for 15 years. The two dominant flavors for me in the finish are that maltiness, toasted malt, and a general low-lying sweetness. Not a cloying sweetness. Not that sort of honey taste you definitely get at the start. Something a bit more restrained, a little bit more refined. Very nice, very delicate. You really pick up those heather notes once you've had a sip. Quite enjoyable, this little dram. I quite like it. Honey flavors particularly strong. That taste of heather is very attractive. And look, you know, price range, I got this on special, but it's usually around about $70. For a 15-year-old dram, that's pretty darn good, especially in this current climate we're in, where we're seeing a lot of NASAs being brought out onto the market to, I suppose, to cope with the rise in demand for the whiskey. It's good that there are still a few drops out there that are at that good age, about 15 years, that are still, you know, quite affordable. So if you want to, if this sounds like your thing, please do let me know in the comments section. I have a Facebook page where I generally give out little updates before a video comes out, so you can be forewarned and forearmed. Yeah, if you have enjoyed this video, please do give us a thumbs up, and I look forward to tasting another whiskey for you saline canines very, very soon.